This NHL veteran still hasn't signed with a team, but why? Phil Kessel has been a highly skilled player in the NHL through his career. I think almost everybody loves his game and his personality. In fact, he broke the Iron Man streak just last season, so if teams are concerned about having to maintain him in the roster because of that, that shouldn't be a worry for them anymore. Now, last season with the Golden Knights, Phil Kessel had a little bit better production than some of the other veteran guys that are signing with teams. Just take a look at the Boston Bruins, for example. They brought in a guy like Milan Lucic, who really hasn't played with them all season, signing him to a $1 million deal, while a guy like Phil Kessel scored 16 goals last season and could be a great fourth line player for a team like them. Now, I'm not saying that he has no concerns. Phil Kessel's offensive game is clearly there, and when it comes to his defense, let's just say he's not the best guy. In fact, on the Vegas Golden Knights last year, he was their worst defenseman, which is probably why he was a healthy scratch come playoff time. But let's just say when you have the tolls of the regular season, you could use a very consistent guy like Phil Kessel. He's the definition of consistency, and when teams get banged up and need that extra guy to come onto the roster, I think Phil should be on an NHL team this year. I'm not saying he's going to be the difference maker or some guy who's going to come in and change a team's Stanley Cup aspirations, but he could be a nice addition to any team, and it still surprises me that no NHL club has thought, let's bring this guy in. So there are three teams that I think should consider making an addition here. The first one being the Vegas Golden Knights. I think that they could use a little bit more of these kind of guys on their roster. Sure, you don't have to start him if the playoffs come, but you got guys like Jack Eichel who are injured right now and a few other players on your roster, so bringing in a guy like Phil could really just give you a little bit more goal scoring and help you solidify yourself as one of the top teams in the Pacific. The other teams that should consider him is the Boston Bruins. They have a few injuries as well, with guys like Lucic missing some time. You have a terrible cap situation going on. You could bring in a guy like Phil Kessel, who was drafted with you guys, sort of a fan service in your 100-year centennial, and still get some production from a guy who could maybe add you a few goals from your fourth line. And the last team that I think should actually consider bringing him in, and this one might shock you, the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, early in the offseason, the Blackhawks signed a bunch of veteran guys, Nick Foligno, Corey Perry, and Taylor Hall, to sort of guide Bedard when he first entered the league. And what better guy to do it than Phil Kessel? His teammates love him. If you just watch some interviews about people talking about his game or his personality, they all love him. They think he's a great influence in the locker room, and I just think he would be a perfect fit to kind of help Bedard get his footing in the league. Not that he really needs it though at this point. But yeah, I just don't think that Phil Kessel's done yet. I think that a team should be looking to add him to their roster, especially a team that's looking for a Stanley Cup run. With all of the injuries that can happen to rosters, you want a consistent guy like Phil who's maybe going to get you a few goals in the playoffs because he's just that kind of player. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Which NHL team should look to sign Phil Kessel? I'm looking forward to more interviews talking about how much Coke he drinks and the hot dogs that he eats in the presser. So drop your comments, like this video, and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.